right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. I am Didi Kai. I'm super excited to be here. I'm the founder of Fit to Profit. And with me today is one of our very special guests. She is an online strength coach with a passion for helping people change their lives by getting as strong as possible and finally losing the stubborn fat that they never thought they could lose. She wants to empower women to spread the message that it's never too late to move better, feel better, lose fat, and build muscles. Change is possible at any age. And welcome. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here with us. I'm really excited about our conversation. And let's dive right into it, Susan. Give us a little story of how it all started for you and why you do what you do today. What inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. So my name is Susan Niebergall, and I am coming to the fitness industry from the world of education. I was a school counselor for about 33 years, a teacher counselor for 33 years. And in that time span, I became a gym rat early on. And I mean, like back in the late 80s or so. Where I would go to fitness classes in the gym, and I loved them. The community of all of that got me coming back into the gym, and I became a regular. And then I started looking over at the free weight section and saw what they were doing and became very intrigued. Like this looks like fun. I would love to try that. And so I signed up and worked with a trainer or two. Well, I ended up working with a bunch of trainers over the decades, but I signed up with a trainer and started strength training back then. And that was in the 90s. And so I've been at it for quite some time, just as a participant. And the issue for me was I loved strength training. I also thought it was my mechanism to lose weight. And that was kind of an erroneous thought on my end, because it's really not training that drives that. It's our nutrition that drives that. But I loved training. I thought, well, the more I do, the better. And so I just became immersed in it. I loved going to the gym. I loved working with trainers. I loved to learn. I was building some strength, but I never had the nutrition piece down. So I would yo-yo diet all the time. I ended up losing probably 50 pounds back in the late 80s, early 90s with Jenny Craig. And for those that don't know, it's a food service, kind of you buy their food, you eat their food, you lose weight. And it works from that perspective, but I never knew how much I was eating. I never knew how much protein I was getting. I didn't know anything. I just did what they told me to do, and I lost weight. And so on the surface, it sounds great. It worked, but I can't keep it off. I was going through life gaining and losing the same increments of 10, 20, 30 pounds, for decades, because they don't teach you how to survive. They don't teach you anything. They just tell you, do this. And so when you don't learn anything, you don't know how to apply it in life. And so that was me. So I was the consummate yo-yo dieter. And so I had this interesting mix of loving to train, but still being overweight, not being able to shed the weight. And that went on for decades. I mean, frustratingly so. I was very frustrated with all of that. And it wasn't until I got into my mid 50s that I really changed everything around by surrounding myself with the right people, the right coach, the right information. Stop making excuses for all the things that I was not doing. I thought I was doing everything right. I was the healthy eater, the clean eater. I put that in quotes because it's ridiculous. I thought that's all I had to do. Just eat clean and you're good. And that's not all you have to do. I learned that lesson too. But surrounding myself with the right education, the right coach, and literally transformed everything. Not only how I look, but how I feel, and being able to build confidence enough to start my own business in this industry. So my overriding message to everyone is that it's just never too late to change. I was in my mid 50s, for heaven's sakes, changed everything. And so if you're someone who is struggling to lose weight or has been, feel like menopause is kicking in, you don't know what to do or whatever, you can still do it. It's possible. And that's why I wrote my book. Fit at any age is never too late, because I wanted everyone to know my journey. I wanted everyone to know all the mistakes I made, and that despite all the mistakes I made, you could still change, and I did. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, trying to spread the message all over that it's never too late to change. And really, that applies to anything in life. I'm specifically referring to losing fat, building muscle, getting strong, but you can apply this. It's never too late to change anything in your life.
Yes, yes, yes. I think I love that you said this is an overriding message, because it is truly never too late, because really depends on, and I used to always have these sets of regrets and things like that, but now I'm actually looking at those things as if like, well, because I wasn't surrounded by the right community. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And being, I think, in that place where I was more compassionate with myself through the process, because if I knew, that could have been different. And so I think compassion is really also important in this whole process, wouldn't you say, Susan? Right? Like with losing weight, learning how to take care of yourself, whatever, and also maybe running a business, etc.
There's a lot going on. I mean, there's a lot of plates to spin. And yeah, so compassion has to play a role in this. And especially if you are someone who, like me, has made all the mistakes, because really people and I'm 61. Let me just put that out there right now. I've been on this planet for a long time, and I've lived through a lot of fads, right? There's been every fad known to mankind I've experienced and probably fell for. And the thing is, no matter how dumb I feel now for having fallen for such garbage stuff, it's not going to help me by beating myself up and saying, oh, you were an idiot, you should have done this. No, that's how it was back then. And anyone in my age bracket knows that. We grew up under a different set of rules kind of that everyone is now. And so it was different back then. So yeah, there's compassion. And the cool part about that is there's also a future, you can change things. It does get harder as we get older, and change in anything gets harder as you get older. I mean, it's harder to do anything as you get older. It's harder to make friends as you get older. I mean, it's just, things get harder. And so we need to be ready for that piece. But, I think Mother Nature kind of puts on some boxing gloves and tries to throw a couple punches at us. But, we put on boxing gloves right back, and we can punch back, and that's where I think a lot of people fall short. They don't feel like they can punch back. They don't feel like there's any hope for them to make any headway. And I truly believe part of that is because we grew up believing things happened fast and things moved along, and that's not how it is. And we get impatient. And so we feel like if we don't see progress in a week, we just quit,
Yeah.
and it's a much different scenario than that.
Yes. And it's a question I have in my mind, but you segued into it beautifully. So yes, it's important to do X, Y, and Z at any age, and it's never too late. So what is your one piece of advice would be, how do we stay motivated? Like what is going to keep us in lane with everything that we need to do? Like, how do you do that?
You won't stay motivated. And you need to understand that. Everyone needs to understand that. If you sit back and wait to do things when you're motivated, you will never do anything. Yeah. Ever. Motivation is a feeling. It's an emotion. It's not something you find. Mm-hmm. It is something that happens. And the only way you can get motivated is to create it yourself. And to create it yourself, you have to take action. You have to take action over and over and over again, especially, and I can't stress this enough, especially when you don't want to, because that's the time where you push through that wall of friction, and that's when you start moving forward. That's when you start getting into a routine. And once you start doing that, you start seeing results, whether it's feeling better, moving better. Maybe I lost a little bit of weight. Maybe I can lift a little bit more weight, whatever the results are, you start seeing signs of that. And when you start seeing that, you continue your pattern. That's where motivation is. It's down there. You start up here with taking action, and you're going to find it the more you take action. But if you sit and you go, I'm just not motivated to go to the gym today, okay, guess what? You're never going to go to the gym then, because, motivation is just not going to be around. So yeah, it's tough. And yeah, sometimes, And I've been called the mother of tough love. And I kind of like that, because there is a lot of tough love with this, is, tough. So you don't want to go, get up and go. There's you have to push through that wall that's in front of you at some point if you want to make progress. You have to. And motivation's part of that. But you have to push through the wall. And when you do that, and you do accomplish what you weren't going to do, but you decided to do it, you're going to feel like $1,000,000. You're going to feel so proud, so happy that you did it. You'll never regret it, ever. And you keep doing that a couple more times. And now we're in the motivation wheel. Now we're in that circuit, right? But you have to start by taking action. That's all there is.
Yeah, I love it. And it's so interesting. I learned it the hard way, of course, because I asked that question is because that's exactly how I felt before. Right? Like you said, motivation, it's a feeling. Like you would never feel motivated if you don't already see the results, right? And to get the results, you have to take the action. And it's so interesting where people also get confused with commitment being a feeling. Like I feel committed. No, commitment is an action, meaning you're showing up when you don't like it. And I think what really helped me, Susan, I know on days where I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to work out 5 times a week and I don't feel like it today. And what really got me motivated, or driven was that I don't have to like it. And I think, and truly, like you said, it's tough. Working out is hard, or eating healthy is hard. But I think what the compassion piece came back when I said, like the commitment is there. I never said that I'm going to love every single workout, but the fact that I'm going to do it even when I don't like, and it's okay not to like it, because that's not right.
I love that. I actually love that. And I think that is a great reminder. Yeah. And from the workout perspective, most of your workouts are just going to be kind of meh, you're going to have a handful that are great. You're going to have a handful that are like terrible, but most of them are just going to be kind of, that's just kind of how it is. Right. And I think maybe we're expecting, the skies to open up and the sun to shine and the angels to sing every single time we do something.
Yes.
And it's not going to be that way in real life, whether it's working out or a business or whatever it is. It's not going to be like that. So I love that you don't have to like it. I think that's super important to point out to everybody, regardless of what it is. You don't have to like it, but if you want to see results in whatever you're doing, you need to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like I was able to make that distinction. I was like, yeah, I don't have to like this thing, but I can do it.
Yeah, of course. Right. Right.
Yeah. And so, no, I love it. And me too. That's why we're connected, or you resonate with me, because I love tough love too. I mean, if you want results, the only way through is through. Like just do the darn thing.
Yeah. I find I've been talking about this a lot recently. We have to be self-aware, and from a weight loss perspective, it all starts with being, and I use the word honestly aware, because I feel like if we're not honest about what we're consuming on a given day, day in and day out, we're never going to make progress. Right. And that can stem from not being honest about if we're tracking calories, not being honest about everything we're tracking, not being, we're leaving out those 2 lattes that we had today, or, I had a handful of these and a handful of those, that wasn't that many calories, I'm not going to track them. That kind of crap that we tell ourselves that we believe, we tell ourselves this crap and we believe it, that sends us down all kinds of paths too. And so I think being honest and being aware is where just about anything has to start.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I believe it. I agree. So Susan, where do you think the future of health and wellness, with all and everything that has been happening the past almost 2 years now, where do you think we're going with all of this?
Great question. Boy, so hard to say. Having lived through so much already, seeing where we are today versus where we were back in the 90s is something that's like, wow. Gone are not gone, but we don't hear as much about the crazy detoxes and this and that, as that those are kind of starting to fade away. So my hope is that the direction keeps going with basics and simplicity, because that's really what works.
Mhm.
Without a doubt and without question, 100% of the time, sticking to basic principles of nutrition and basic principles of working out are what will get you where you want to go. You don't have to stand on these crazy apparatuses on one foot, juggling all of this crap and lifting a weight and thinking that you're going to get strong. No, just practice basic movements and variations of those basic movements and get stronger and better with those. That's how you're going to get stronger and build muscle. And with nutrition, it is about consuming less calories than your body needs. That is the simplistic calories in, calories out. That's what weight loss is about. And I point out to people, there are people that have gone through these diets where they just ate like Twinkies or something, and they lost weight eating Twinkies because they ate less calories than their body needs. But their health went to hell in a handbasket, because they had no nutrients on board. Twinkies aren't going to fill you up. You're going to be hungry all the time. You're not going to sleep well. You're going to have no energy. Your workouts are going to stink. There's a price to pay for something like that. But the person went through this to show that it is eat less than the calorie needs. No matter what the food is, eat less, you're going to lose weight. That being said, we never recommend anybody do that. But it's good to know that you can include foods like Twinkies in your diet and continue to lose weight. It's not like my generation grew up with good foods versus bad foods. And that set so many of us up for a bad relationship with food. And I hope in the future that gets dealt with just like we're doing now, maybe even more so, because that's at the root of so many issues like binge eating in particular. And that is something that has come more to the forefront, I feel like, in the last even 5-6 years, and hopefully will be out there even more. So people will know how to help themselves and help deal with that and correct it, but just keeping it simple and pushing the principles that actually work, and stop with all of the, you can lose 10 pounds in a week, or you can, lose, this in a day, or you need this detox to cleanse. Your liver does all of that for you. You've got a good liver. Let it do its job. You don't need to detox yourself from anything. Those kinds of things. Get all that stuff out of the discussion, and just keep basic strength training programs and the benefits of that as we get older. Why all of us should be strength training to some degree or another. In order to, for longevity, for a healthy, long life, and how nutrition is basic stuff, lean protein, fruits and vegetables, stuff that we already know, and then learning to include those foods that we love, whether it's Twinkies or cake or whatever it is, in moderation all along the way, because that's what life is about.
Yes, beautiful. And so exactly, let's learn more about from Susan. Can you share with us what are the benefits of strength training? Why should we bother?
Yeah. So really a passion of mine, because there's so many benefits to strength training, obviously to build strength. But why do we want to build strength? Well, as we get older, we would like to be able to sit in a chair and stand up without help. We want to be able to get up off the floor. We would love to play with our grandkids when we're older. We would love to go up and down steps. We would love to be able to pull something off a shelf and be able to hold it. We would be able to bring in groceries from our car. There's all these functional life things that strength training is going to allow us to do for a long, long time. And if you look at the generation before me, like my parents' generation, I watched my mom, her health declined rapidly when she was in her late 80s. She had no strength. She could not get up from a couch without help. She fell, hit her head because she didn't have any balance. She couldn't turn a knob, push a button. I mean, it was just unbelievable and she was not uncommon to a lot of people her age, right? Mm-hmm. My generation knows more than hers. So I'm setting myself up to not be like that. And the generation behind me knows more than I did back then, so I'm hoping that everyone younger than me will be setting themselves up, because if you start strength training early on, when you're my age, you're going to be like, that wheel is going to be running. You're going to be in great condition and great shape. And the more strength you build, the more muscle you're going to maintain and build. And when you start losing your muscle mass, that's when everything starts falling apart, to be honest. So we can maintain muscle. Keeping an eye on our protein levels is super important, and lifting. heavy weight that's heavy for us. And people seem to think heavy means I've got to do this big barbell and throw it up in the air and do all these crazy things. And you don't ever have to lift a barbell, but you do need to lift weight that's challenging for you.
Mhm.
Lifting the little pink 3-pound little thing like this is not going to do anybody much good at all. You need to get uncomfortable and really push yourself with strength, because that will be your key to longevity, key to muscle mass, and also bone density. This comes up all the time. This can improve your bone density. And, as you get older, you take a fall. How many elderly people do you see that fall and break a hip? I mean, it's like automatic, right? You start building muscle and strength, you're going to improve your bone density. And if you take that fall when you're in your 80s, it's not an automatic that you're going to break a hip. I mean, we can't say you guarantee it, but the chances of you not breaking a hip have gone up exponentially because you have kept training and kept your strength up and increased your bone density. And it's the other thing that's not talked about enough, I feel like, with strength training is it's a confidence, it's a mental piece, an emotional piece that you start to feel that will change. That's the life changer, I think, because that confidence or mental piece that you get from lifting heavy stuff will transfer into all aspects of your life, whether
Yeah.
that's your job, whether that's you want a new job, whether you start a business like me. It's anybody that's been through it knows exactly what I'm talking about. I can't give it words to justify whatever, so everyone would really truly understand. But trust me, your life will change, and you'll know exactly how it is when you hit that point. You will know, and you will think back to this conversation. Think, Susan, I remember what you said. I get it now. It's that important, and it's something that is not talked about enough, but that could easily change your life.
Yes. And I love what you shared so far about strength training, because as we see in social media, it's all about the six pack. It's all about, lifting 200 pounds. But what you just said is not all about that. It's, can you function as a normal, like, human being, and a healthy one, like even
Yeah.
opening a jar, like lifting groceries, all of the things. That's what quality of life is
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because I get so many people can't see down the road to 80, right? I mean, I'm starting to be able to see it because I'm getting closer and closer, but someone who's 30, I get it. They can't see down to 80. That's kind of a human thing, but we need to pretend like we can at least see that it's kind of there in the distance. And maybe the more you keep putting things off, the harder it's going to be. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't ever do it if you made that mistake, but it will be easier for you if you get on it now, and then do yourself a favor, build as much strength and muscle as you can, because Mother Nature starts trying to take that muscle away from us starting around age 30. Every decade, we start losing a bit of muscle. And so we need to be on top of that. And we can stop it easily. And we can actually increase muscle. I built a ton of muscle in my 50s. So it's not impossible. It's going to help serve you for quality of life and longevity and all the rest. And it's just, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I truly do believe you need to find a form of exercise that you love. You do.
Yes.
But strength training is too important to not do it all. So even if you don't like it, you still need to do it. It doesn't need to be a lot. It doesn't have to take over your life. You need to do what you love. So if you love to do Zumba or something, whatever, go do it, right? But you need to find 2 days a week where you focus on strength training, because it's going to be that important for you.
Yes, absolutely. Love it. Thank you so much for all of the information. Yes, it's enlightening. I agree. Sometimes I think about, oh, I'm not going to be 80 for a while, but at the same time, like, I'm not feeling the same way I used to feel when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I used to
Yeah.
recover just like that. Now it takes me, 2 days just to recover from staying up late,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So Susan, where can we find you? Where can the audience find you?
You'll find me mostly on Instagram at Susan Niebergall Fitness. You'll find me on Facebook, Susan Niebergall Fitness, Twitter, same. I have a podcast called the Strong and Lean at Any Age podcast. I also wrote a book called Fit at Any Age. It's Never Too Late. You can get that on Amazon. And I am also co-coach in the Syatt Fitness Inner Circle. I coach with Jordan Syatt, and we have an online fitness community where we provide structured strength programming, nutrition guidelines, support, all that kind of stuff. So that's where you can find me at any of those places.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Of course, you look fabulous. If you didn't tell me you were 61, I would
Yeah.
have.
Thank you.
So thank you for all that you do and sharing the message and advocating for the women and for all of us. So I appreciate you. Thank you again so much for being a part of our show today.
Thank you for having me.